Good evening, good evening, good evening. I have no idea how many of you have joined me this evening, but you're very welcome. It could be one, it could be 100. But you're very welcome at 6 o'clock on this Monday evening to join me to help to lose the head trash from your business. That's what we're going to be focusing on this evening. And it's such an important part of being able to run and grow a successful business is to lose all the rubbish that's in your head on a daily basis. There's just a couple of things that we need to go through. Now, first of all, who am I? You may never have heard me speak before. I have been in business for coming over 11 years now, and I have always been within the arts industry, and it's the arts and education industry. When the pandemic hit, we, of course, like you, probably lost a lot of customers, but then we grew it, and then we're bigger now than we actually when we entered the pandemic last March. The other thing that I've done as well is written two books. One is published imminently. The second will be published later this year, all business related, and it is all relating to how to grow your business. And so if you would like a copy of that, all you've got to do is email me. And when it's published, I will actually give you the first one for free. Also, you may have seen in the news, we hit the local news with this in a big way, is the 1000 Young Voices project. Myself and my team, we decided that we were going to put together a virtual choir. And this virtual choir was to sing You Raise Me Up, raising funds for the NHS combined charities. We were on the BBC News with it. We were in the local papers, and we were in the national press as well with that project. So you may or may not, or you may have even known someone that actually took part in that. And the other thing, more lately, of course, is I am a certified business coach. I'm certified through the Entrepreneurial Circle, who are known for helping small businesses to grow and in a systematic and rhythmic way. And you've just seen me drop my pencil there. There's a couple of rules as we move on through this. The first thing, I assume you're here because you need some kind of assistance and you're looking for some little nuggets that are going to help you to grow your business. And to do that, you do have to have an open mind. So we do have a no closed mind rule. There's nothing more dangerous than a closed mind, because the ideas that I'm going to share with you might not be the everyday. And there's a reason why they're not there every day, because if you're doing the everyday, then you're not going to be the top level successful business, which we're going to find out on the first, page 2 of your booklet. And the second rule, and this is a really important one, it runs in all my businesses and it runs in my private life and as well as the webinars that I run. And it is a no dickhead rule. You cannot be a dickhead. I do have an IT man that's doing this for me now. If there's any abuse towards myself or towards anybody else that's on the webinar tonight, then you will be kicked off. No questions, and it's as simple as that. And this webinar is also being recorded this evening, so it's eventually going to start to form a portfolio of videos to help small businesses grow in a systematic and rhythmic way. So that's the end of that bit of presentation. I did promise you all the way through that it was not going to be a death by PowerPoint thing. If there's any issues with the picture or the sound at all, please just put it in the chat and then Andy will be able to let me know, or we'll be able to sort it out. If you have any questions, put it in the chat. Andy will let me know any questions at the end, and then we'll be able to answer them directly for you this evening. So the first thing I want to do is just ask you to turn to page 2 of your booklet. And we've got the money pyramid. This money pyramid, broadly speaking, covers whatever industry you're in. It covers, broadly speaking, like I say, every industry that businesses can possibly be in, from art to education to manufacturing. This is where people tend to lie. And I've left these blank for a reason, because if you can write these things in, they will help you stick, it will help it stick into your head that little bit better. And the first one, the top one, is the rich. And the 1% 1% of the people in your sector would be classed as rich. These are the people that really don't need to worry about where the holidays are going to come from. These are the people that can afford what they want when they want. They would be rich. Some may have been born into it. Some could have been handed the business down to them. But the fact is that 1% of the people in your sector and mine are the ones that are rich. The next one down, the little chunk at the top, from second from the top there, is 4% are prosperous. These guys are getting there. They don't need to worry about too much. They employ plenty of people and they can take days off whenever they like. And so that would be the sort of 4% category that are prosperous. Going down further down the pyramid is 15%. So you've got 1, 4, and 15. I'm going to not mention the top. I'm not going to call it the top 20%. And we're going to refer to 1, 4, and 15%. And the 15% of the people in your sector, in the sector that you are working in right now, are earning a good living. They're really getting there. They've wallowed around a bit in the other sectors, but they're actually really making it themselves a good living. They're comfortable and they're happy to be there, and they're really motoring themselves towards the top of the pyramid. What's interesting for me, and always has been ever since I found this out, was the biggest proportion of the people are in endless financial struggle. That is 60%. 60% of the people in your sector are in endless financial struggle. And there could be different points within that. It's a big part of the pyramid. And there could be different points within that sector. So there could be the top level of the endless financial struggle, or there could be right at the bottom. And of course, that means right at the bottom end are 20% at any one point are broke. They're not even getting by. And I've been there. I have been in the bottom part of this pyramid when it was about sort of 9 years ago, 8 years ago, maybe. And my wife had gone shopping. And because a direct debit, and it wasn't even a big direct debit, it was only a couple of £100. But because the direct debit had come out of the account that we weren't expecting, or I'd forgotten about, more like, every single card that she went shopping with was in fact declined. She had to have the embarrassment of putting stuff back. And from that point, we gave myself a year to either make the business work, or I was going to go and get what we call a real job. And so that is how the pyramid works. And if you had a look around at your sector, any other sector at all, very broadly speaking, it works out. And so the two questions that I want to ask you at the bottom of this page is, where are you now? And you're only answering to yourself. There's no point in lying to yourself at all. Just put, where are you now? Put a little bit of a dot on it. And where do you want to be? Not everyone wants to be rich. I have made no secret, and I've never made a secret about my desire and my work for wealth. And it's not a greed thing. It's because of what I want to do with that wealth as we get it. And as I go up this pyramid, and I am continuing to go up the pyramid, I'm not in the top 1%, certainly not. But as I go up this pyramid, I work harder and harder to get there, and I learn new tactics. One of the things that I've learned over the last few years is all about time. And so I'd like you, please, to flick over to page 3. This is where we go straight into, and you're going to be with me for the next, let's say, 25 minutes. Let's say along that, just talking about the time thing. So what have you spent your time doing today? Just jot some things down, because if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a business owner, I can guarantee, and I can put my hand on heart to say, that you probably weren't idle. I've put my water down. Have you got a water? So just jot some ideas down of the things that you've been doing today. Maybe dealing with your finances, maybe dealing with staff, maybe dealing with customers, doing stuff that could be deemed as very important when running a small business. And then right at the bottom of that page, and this is a fairly quick slide, as it were, what is the most important thing that you should be doing every working day? And I don't want to sort of go forward from this at the minute. I will give you the answer in about 5 or so minutes. But I want you to think about what is the most important thing, the single most important thing. Not lots of little important things. There is one single most important thing that you should and need to make time for every day. And it's the one thing that we struggle with the most, and we're going to find out how to make the time today to do this one thing. So just jot down an answer on the bottom there. So what we've got now on page 3 is the things that you've spent your time doing today, and what is the most important thing, the one singular thing that you should be doing, and not just you, every business owner. There's millions out there in the world, and every business owner should be doing this one thing every day. But I can guarantee you they're not. Most business owners aren't, and that's why most business owners have the 60 and the 20, the bottom 80% of the pyramid. We're going to find out that in a couple of minutes. You may have seen this graphic before on page 4. It's quite a common one. And it's all about, if the big rocks don't go in first, they're not going to fit in later. And if this was a moving graphic on page 4, what you'd see is the big rocks going in, then the pebbles, the little rocks going in, and they sort of sink around the big rocks, and then the sand fills in the gaps. But if you fill your jar with sand, nothing else fits around it. And it's an analogy that is used again and again for time management. But in our webinar today, with regards to doing it for the purpose of running a business, your big rocks are the highest priority projects and tasks that you have got on any particular day. The little rocks are the urgent or important things, priority projects and tasks, stuff that can need to be done this week. And the sand are the little bits, the unimportant projects and tasks, things like reading emails, things like checking your text messages, things like being on Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn. All these things, when it comes to Facebook and LinkedIn, of course, it's important from an advertising perspective. But what we do is we fill our time with all the little tasks, the stuff that actually isn't that important, because it is an easy thing to do. It's easy to go to the bank and put in money. It's easy to deal with the day-to-day dirge of business. And we find ourselves comfortable in what we do. And most business owners, and you might find yourself, you might recognize this, you might feel a little bit uncomfortable as I'm saying this, because most business owners will do the same thing. But I refer back to page 2, and where do most business owners sit in that pyramid? It's the 60% and the 20%. There's plenty of people that do not do this at all. And they put the important tasks first. They're higher up in the pyramid. And I guarantee you they're higher up in the pyramid. These are the Jeff Bezos of the world. They didn't fill their time with dealing with staff, dealing with customers. We've all got to do it. All these things, we've got to make sure the staff are paid. Otherwise, they don't come to work on Monday morning. We've got to make sure that the customers are looked after. Otherwise, they'll go to a company that will look after them. But you can do it in different ways. And the most important thing that every business owner should be doing every day, this is the bottom of page 4, the most important thing every business owner should be doing every day is getting and keeping customers. That's it. It's as simple as that. So we could end the webinar here, and you could go off and go, yeah, I agree with that. There's nobody in business has disagreed with this statement. The most important thing every business owner should be doing every day is getting and keeping customers. And we understand, we get the logic of it. We completely understand the logic of that statement, but we don't do it. Because to do the getting and keeping customers thing, that's hard. That's a hard thing to do. There's your marketing campaigns. That's figuring out your customer journey. That's working out how to do things differently to your competitors, because different is always better. Better is never better. Different is always better. And so being able to do something differently to your competitors, that's a difficult thing to do. And so we need to set a certain amount of time aside every single working day to be able to do that one thing. And I guarantee you, the people at the bottom end of that pyramid, those are the people that are not doing this. They're not setting the time aside to get and keep the customers. I certainly didn't. Before 2017, I wasn't doing it at all. And then I met my business coach. And then I didn't even know what it was all about. And then I met my business coach. We talked about it. And from that day, every day, Monday to Friday, sometimes on a Sunday, Monday to Friday, I am there doing this time set aside every day to get and keep customers. So you need to think about, how are you spending your time? Turning over to page 5, how are you spending your time? And if you look back a couple of pages, page 3, you will find out how you're spending your time. And it's not just that. You know, if I use these sheets that we've got on page 5, I use these sheets every day, and it splits my day into 15-minute chunks. Every single day is split into 15-minute chunks from 8:30 in the morning till around about 6:30 at night. And everything is filled in. But I ring fence my time. I put a ring fence around the time that I need to spend on building my business. That's the getting and keeping customers thing. And these sheets can be worked very, very nicely, because you will see how you are spending your time. Because you see, most business owners, they just own a job. They're not entrepreneurs. They don't own a business. They might as well be working for a factory, and there's nothing wrong with that. Or they might as well be a teacher or a police officer or work in a shop. Nothing wrong with any of that. But all of these people, they own a job. They don't have the freedom, the real freedom that an entrepreneur can have if they do the job correctly, if they do the work correctly. Because most people in business, they are just a doer of things. They hide in busyness. So they keep themselves, oh, they're very busy. Oh my God, they're very, very busy. But they're not in business, they're in busyness. They lock themselves in the weeds of the everyday. They don't cut it back. They don't see the light of day. They don't ring fence their time. They're just a doer of things. They're a fantastic practitioner. I started off as an independent music teacher. That was my thing. And I was a great practitioner, but I was a doer of that job. I just hid in the busyness of it all. I sent out certain emails. It was comfortable. I was a keyboard warrior, if you like. It was comfortable. They were ignored, of course, because I didn't know anything about marketing back then. But they just simply hide in busyness. And so, again, if you flick over to page 6, how are you spending your time? And we've got certain things that I've discovered about successful people, the time habits of the successful. And the successful entrepreneur, they are extremely sensitive to time. Extremely sensitive to time. They're aware that there's 1,440 minutes in a day. I have the folder, my folder, which has these sheets in, and that 1440 is written on the front of the folder, and it's written on the inside cover. As a constant reminder, 1,440 minutes in a day. Some people I've met have even worked out, if they live to 80, how many months they will live for, and crossed out the ones that they've already had. A little bit morbid maybe, but it's to make sure that whatever they want to have done before their life comes to a close, they will have had it done, whatever that is. And so the super successful, The ones at the top end of the pyramid, they are extremely sensitive they're extremely sensitive to time. And the first time habit of the successful, they invest in their time, they don't spend it. They invest in their time. They know what they're going to do. Every single day when I wake up, I know exactly what I'm going to be doing that day. And it does take a certain amount of discipline. And it does take a certain amount of ring fencing. And it does take a certain amount of annoying people by having to say no. I have no qualms with saying no to people. I realized a long time ago that I could not be the best business owner, the best boss, the best husband, and the best dad all at once. My wife disagrees profusely on this one, but I realized a long time ago that I could not be all those things at once. So I allow time. I have allotted time for everything. And when I'm doing that one thing, I'm not thinking of doing the other. The other thing, second thing, sorry, that the super successful will do is they work on their business. They do not work in it. Now, this is where the weeds thing comes in, that I mentioned earlier. Being lost in the weeds. That's the stuff that you do in your business. And you know, every small business, we do have to do it. We've got to do the day-to-day. Even the millionaires of businesses, if they want to keep the businesses going, they've sometimes got to deal with staff. They've sometimes got to deal with customers. And that's all fine. Because what they're doing is they're sensibly working on their business or allowing some time every single day to do that. The third thing, they are completely intolerant of anything or anyone who will waste their time. Completely intolerant. I have I had a member of staff repeatedly late. I eventually grew the balls to get rid because it was wasting my time. If I have a meeting at 8 o'clock, my staff must be there at 7:59 with their figures and with the agenda in hand, ready to go at 8 o'clock. I hate being late. As anybody that knows me well would testify, I would rather be an hour early than 5 minutes late. Being late winds me up. I get anxious about that. I hate it. I'm completely intolerant with technology that fails. I do have a small temper on me, and I have occasionally thrown a computer down the stairs if it won't load, just because it wouldn't load up quick enough. That was a long time ago. I was much younger back then. God, it was at least last week. They will go to extreme lengths to get time to themselves and their business. They will go to extreme lengths to do it. And and we're going to discuss some examples of that a little bit later on. And then the final thing on the bottom is the ring-fenced time every day to work on their business. And the ring-fenced time that they have to work on their business is 90 minutes. Now, you may be saying to me, how the hell am I meant to find that time? We're going to discuss that in a minute. But I need to just instill in you right now the importance of finding 90 minutes. If you can't find 90 minutes, find 60. If you can't find 60, find 45. But something every day that you are going to be able to have working on your business to systematically grow it. So just some facts for you on page 7. You can break your day up into 12 45-minute sections each and every day. If you work sort of 8:30 or 60, you can break it down to 12 45-minute sessions every day. You should take a break, of course, so we'll allow 45 minutes for lunch. So that means that you have 11 45 minutes every single day, Monday to Friday. Simple maths, that. 55 sessions of 45 minutes every single week. Now, if the 12th point there, which is, if you printed it out in color, it's circled in red, take 10 sessions a week to work on your business. So you're going to take 45 minutes every single day to work on your business. That still leaves 45 sessions every single week to do the rest of the stuff, to go back into the weeds, to do the things, the day-to-day churn. But these 45 minutes that you're going to take every day have got to be the best bit of work that you are going to do that day. You've got to have it when you're at your peak, and we're going to discuss that in a minute. Because once you've done that, it will leave 45 sessions. That's almost 34 hours a week to do the rest. And most people, let's face it, you're joining me now at 6 o'clock on a Monday night, and I'm sure you will probably be doing some more work once we've done, as I will. But most people with it, who are an entrepreneur that run a business, will be doing so much more than 8:30 till 6, certainly more than 9 to 5 or 7 to 7 or whatever. You will do more. So this is breaking it down. And so if you are happy to do those extra hours, you could find even more time. But it's so important that you take 10 sessions a week to work on your business and leave the rest of the time to deal with the bits that you are doing in your business. And there is a huge difference between those in your business, the unimportant things, the sand and the very small pebbles, to the things that are actually on your business, the big things, the marketing campaigns, the customer profiling, the being able to find out who works where, and the getting in touch with the big people and the decision makers. All this kind of stuff is done when you're working on your business for your 2 45-minute sessions or your 90 minutes every day. Because it always amazes me how easy a statement this is on page 8. Because the more marketing you do, the more money you make. Well, wow. Thanks, Brendan, for stating the bleeding obvious. But the thing is, it's bleeding obvious, but you're not bleeding doing it. And the whole point of this is obvious statement. The more marketing you do, the more money you make. It is so obvious. So if that is obvious, if that is a thing, why aren't we setting the time aside every single day to do that thing? Because we don't. We'd rather get lost in busyness. We'd rather do the easy. Because everyone knows that business owners work hard. And so, do you know what? God damn it, we're going to prove it. And the fact is that while you are doing that, while you are going to the bank, while you are dealing with a customer complaint, while you are dealing with staff is the biggest thing. I mean, when I speak to my clients, staffing and staff issues is always the top one, always the top one. But the fact is while you are dealing with that, you are not being able to do your marketing strategies, your follow-up campaigns, your figures. You've got to review everything. And while you are dealing in the weeds, you ain't making any money. You might think you are, and you might think that you're working really hard, but you're not. And so just flicking back to page 7, you have got to find this 90 minutes every single day. So page 9, when are you at your best? And this is important. Well, this is really important. Nigel Bottrell, who is educated me with all of this, he's at his best at 7 o'clock in the morning. And so he will, between 7 and 9, usually 7:30 to 9 o'clock, he'll lock himself in his office. And he has a sign on his office door that says, unless the building is on fire, do not disturb. That's how he ring fences his time every single morning. But the thing is that I'm not an early bird. I'm a night owl. I'll quite happily stay in my office late at night. When the world has shut down a little bit, the phone calls stop, that's when I will more likely, that was when I will more likely do my 90 minutes. When you have discovered your peak time, and everyone's got a peak time, whether it be 2 in the afternoon. Probably uncommon, but everyone's got a peak time. You ring fence it, and you tell everyone, and you go to extreme lengths to find time alone, to do it every day. And that's the missing words: go to extreme lengths on page 9 to find time alone, and you do it every single day. Extreme lengths. Like, there is a lady that I know, she works in a communal office, and that's not alone. That's no good. There's disturbances, absolute disturbances, constantly. So she drives to her local service station. And when you park at the service station, you get 2 hours before you need to start paying. So she parks up, she grabs a coffee, and she knows that is her time. That is her time allowed. She grabs a coffee, she sits in the same seat every day. No one knows her. You can be completely ambiguous. You're not going to be disturbed. And then she does it there and then. But I mean, there's nothing quite more depressing than a British service station. So that's where she does her time. There's another one that if she's got a big project on, she will book herself into a hotel. And the only thing she wants from this hotel is 2 beds in her room. The less the hotel has got, the better. If it's not got a bar, even better. She doesn't want a spa. She doesn't want a swimming pool. She needs 2 beds. 1 bed for all her stuff, the other bed for her to sleep in. And she does not allow herself out of that room until her project is done. And she now runs one of the best well-being farms in the country. It's won various awards. And it's all from going to extreme lengths to find time alone. Absolute extreme lengths. And you've got to make sure you're not disturbed by anybody, not your family, not your staff. And if you know, it only takes one angry temper if you are disturbed for them to actually get the point. If they disturb you at this point, you've got to go ballistic. You've got to have this time alone, because nobody's going to do it for you. You are the only person that is actually going to do this job. You are a marketer of the thing that you do, not a doer of the thing that you do, not all the time. And there's only one person in your business that is going to do that, and that is you. So go to extreme lengths to find the time every single day. And then as we flick over to page 10, 90 times 5 equals 30 is the rather crude equation on there. Obviously, that doesn't make sense. But 90 minutes a day times 5 days a week. So an hour and a half times 5, 7.5 hours. And that equals 30 hours a month. 30 hours a month working just on your business. And I guarantee you, your competitors are not doing this. Most business owners, no matter how much we tell them, most business owners are not doing this. And right back to page 2, where are most business owners? They're in this 60 and the 20. They're getting by or they're broke. Nobody set out in business to be there. Nobody set out in business to be getting by. And if you're that one person, I'd love to speak to you, because nobody set out in business just to get by. And certainly nobody set out in business to be broke. But because they are doing what everybody else does, they work harder, they're not getting the money in, so they work longer hours, and they still don't systematically set the time aside. So they're now broke and knackered. And that is not where you wanted to be. When you set out in business, you had a dream. And that wasn't it. And you know that wasn't it. And actually, if you calculate this even further, you can work out that if you work 52 weeks a year, and we're not going to do that, but it works out that you can, it will be 15 days every single year that you can be spending working on your business. That's in total half a month. Do not do half a month all in one go. That would be stupid. That's not reacting to what's in the news. That's not keeping up with your customers at all and things like that. You wouldn't want to do that. But in total, 15 days a year, just by ring fencing the time, and calculate your 45-hour chunks, 45-minute chunks, and working at it in a systematic approach in that way. 15 days a year, 30 hours in a month. Most business owners aren't doing that. What we're going to do is I'm going to come back to page 11 in a moment, but I just want to draw your attention to your 90-minute planner. Once this webinar is over, well, it'll be tomorrow when you get this, but I'll be sending you good things that you should be doing in your 90 minutes. I will be sending that as an email. And then flicking back to page 11 is this is what should you do in your 90 minutes? What should you be doing? Well, marketing is fine, writing a book, doing your Facebook campaigns, doing your follow-up campaigns, all of that kind of good stuff, segmenting your lists, doing your customer profiling. All this is the stuff that you should be doing in your 90 minutes. The stuff that is going to be significantly growing, allowing your business to go forward. And so every day, this is the easiest chart in the world on page 11. Absolutely easy. Monday, put the one big thing that you're going to be doing that day. Tuesday, do the same thing. Wednesday, guess what? Exactly the same thing, Thursday and Friday. You may want to design your own, because if you work Saturday and Sunday and you have a couple of days off in the week, that this doesn't work for you for the days of the week. But the plan broadly can work for everybody. And in this 90-minute planner that's been put together by Nige is the big thing that you are going to be working on that day. Now, if you've got a really big thing, like you may be sorting out your own webinar or a series of videos, it could take a whole week. But don't just write it in all week, because that would be rubbish. What thing are you going to do about that webinar or about your training videos or whatever it is that you're going to do in those days? And go to extreme lengths. There are times when I don't allow myself to go to the toilet until I have done the job in hand. It can get quite painful. Or there is a biscuit. I will not allow myself to eat that biscuit. And the reason I do that is because I am the king of procrastination. I am very, very good at putting stuff off. And so the discipline that you've got to have in this is extreme. You have got to get into the habit. And once you've got into the habit, and you will see the systematic approach, the rhythmic activity leading to the rhythmic acquisition of customers day after day, week after week, month after month, you will see the results, and you will see the results relatively quickly. If you do this, if you set the time aside, 90 minutes every day, you cannot fail to make progress in your business. And like I said to you earlier, over on page 12, is the good things that you should be doing in your 90 minutes. I mean, you can either get a magnifying glass and have a look at it, or you can wait until tomorrow, and I will send this to you before midday. And it is not, this list though, it is not an exhaustive list. It is things that you can be doing. It is things, and you can add to it. But it is the big things that are going to move your business forward. On this list, you cannot deal with staff. You cannot deal with customers. There is no room for staff or customers within your 90 minutes. It is about the getting and keeping customers. That's the big thing. So the 4 big takeaways from all of this. And I would encourage everyone to read. The reason I would encourage everyone to read about Jeff Bezos, for example, and the reason I would, and one of my favorite companies as a business is Disney. So I've read a lot of books with regards to their creative intent and all that kind of thing. I've read a lot about that. The reason I would encourage you to read is because every person that's been successful, whether it be within religion or business or any other area, they have set time aside. every day to work on it. So, and that's how you need to treat this, and learn from the people that are far more clever than me, and learn from that. The second one is write. This, within your 90 minutes, of course. This whole thing of writing, this copy, so important. And you know, you look at it and it'll look rubbish to begin with, but you will get better, and you will get better. And then as you read, one of the best things you can read actually is the Sun newspaper. I mean, it's a pile of pants, but if you read how they word things, you cannot fail to get better. It's interesting with the Sun newspaper. I mean, if you compare it to Harry Potter, J.K. Rowling sold, I think, something like 12 million books. The Sun sell that and then some every single day because of the way that they write. The third thing is review. This is within your 90 minutes. All of this is the 90 minutes. Read, write, review. And the fourth thing is your numbers. You have got to track everything. Everything that you do is trackable. You can get trackable numbers. If you use MailChimp, it'll tell you how many people are opening your emails. Everything can be tracked. So you get the averages and you know what's going to work. So the things within your 90 minutes are there. I've shown you how you can find the time. So I'm going to ask you to commit now. What's the one thing that you're going to work on tomorrow? Don't do it tonight. Don't do it tonight. Start first thing tomorrow morning, if that's when you want to do it, or tomorrow evening, if you're going to be a night owl like yourself. But what's the one thing that you're going to work on tomorrow? And I want you to email me. That is my personal mailbox. It's not managed by my PA or anybody like that. This is mine. And I want you to email me directly to tell me the one thing that you're going to work on tomorrow. And I'm going to contact you on Wednesday to make sure you've done it. And as you get into this habit of doing it, as you get into it, then it will work. So what is the one thing that you're going to work on tomorrow? This whole 90-minute thing is such an important part of running any business. It doesn't matter what sector you're in, but if you want to be able to meaningfully move up the pyramid, then your 90 minutes is a genuine, massive step into being able to do it. And I would like to help you. Now, you have, of course, listened to me now for, 45 minutes. So there's a couple of things that I am a business coach. And there's a couple of things that I would like to offer you now. The first thing would be I have 4 slots for a discovery call. That will be done this week. And so if you would like to take one of those slots to talk about your business and how you can meaningfully move it straight forward. And we can spend an hour together completely free of charge on that discovery call. I will find out about your business, and then we put a plan together. You have listened to me for 45 minutes now. You've learned how to put your time together, and you've also learned how to what to put in that time. So it might be a really smart decision for you, possibly, to decide to go for coaching. Now, normally the coaching is £399 a month, but that at the minute just doesn't feel right. I've got plenty of colleagues that are still charging that, and that's fine, but that doesn't feel right. So at the moment, I have an offer for the first 3 months at £199 a month. Once that happens, it'll be £299. And once that is over, once the first 3 months is over, it's only £299, and it will stay there. It will not go up to £399 ever for you if you sign up. Now, the reason being is that I want to help you out, but the point as well with regards to coaching is that if you can do this 90 minutes and we can work together, after a month and a half, I will effectively be free to you because of the amount of money, the extra that will be coming into your business. So if that is something that you would like to do, I'd love to hear from you. We will still have a discovery call to make sure that we can work together. And if we can't, then I will refer you on to somebody else, a colleague of mine, that might be able to help you out more. So those are the offers at the end of this webinar. Are there any questions? No questions coming in as yet? Brilliant. Okay. Well, thank you very much for listening to me for the last 45 minutes. The next thing that's going to happen is a series of webinars called Marketing to the Money, Not the Many. It's going to be put out as a series of training videos. So thank you once again. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and I will look forward to hearing from you about your commitments to those 90 minutes. Thank you.